Hi, greetings to everybody. Today, me and my partners were going to talk about the Common European Framework. My name is Ricardo Cáceres, and along with Jorge Corse, we are going to do this presentation. Um, so today we're going to talk about what is the Common European Framework. The Common European Framework is an standard guide that provides a detailed description of how languages should be learned in order to develop communication skills for a better understanding of the cultural context in which language is said. This is done by defining levels of proficiency for the language, such as A1, A2, until C2, which is the highest one, almost native. And also, it creates an intercultural approach between the learner and the content he's learning at. Now, how does it work? The Common European Framework works by providing an explicit description of the objectives that are required for reaching each competence, the content, okay, how contents or books or guides for students needs to be done, and also the methods how to teach the language and so on, for enhancing the transparency of courses, syllabuses, and qualifications in order to provide an accurate criteria for describing the language proficiency. Now we're going to check out the aims of the Council of Europe language policy. It's important to highlight that these aims are also known as recommendations, focus on three basic principles, which are protect and develop the rich heritage of diverse languages and cultures in Europe, furthermore facilitate the communication and interaction among Europeans of different mother tongues due to a better knowledge of European modern languages by understanding the context of the other country and so on, and also adopt and acquire national policies in the field of modern languages. This is important to highlight that these three principles are focused on avoiding the xenophobia among the countries and on the empathy with people and different cultures among European people. So we need to be aware that behaviors in Spain, in Germany, in England, they're going to be different. So when they are learning the language, they're not only learning the grammar sentences and such as, they are also learning the culture, how they behave, how to comprehend their behaviors. So now we're going to check what criteria must Common European Framework meet. In order to fulfill its functions, the Common European Framework needs to be, in order for achieving its goals, the Common European Framework needs to be transparent, comprehensive, and coherent. By transparent is meant that the information must be clearly formulated and explicit, so it will be comprehensive to the users of the language. Also, it needs to be comprehensive. By comprehensive, it means that the Common European Framework should attempt to specify a full range of knowledge. This means the importance, of the grammar, of the instructions, of how to tell message. It's implemented on this process, so the comprehensive part is really important, and at the end we have the Common European Framework needs to be coherent. This means that the description is free from internal contradictions. So all the textbooks, all the guides, and all the activities, they may have a purpose that needs to be followed by teachers, students, and people interested in learning a foreign language by having the guides of this Common European Framework. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ricardo. Now we are going to talk about what is plurilingualism. We have to differ this term from multilingualism, which is The knowledge of of a number of languages or the coexistence of different languages in a given society. This term, plurilingualism, have to express more emphasis in the fact that as an individual person experience of a language in its cultural contents. So this have to be more with how a learner or an individual learn language from home and how this individual applied this language in a society in order to have an effective communication. It has to be related with how this achievement is important and how this person use alternative form or expression in different languages or dialects, talking about mimics or gesture and facial expressions. Um, this give the students or individuals to have the opportunity to develop a plurilingual competence and to express each other in a really better way in a society. Now let's move on to why is CEF needed. Um, well, this is more about the intensification of the language learning and teaching in member countries. It is necessary to have a more effective international communication, and we have to respect the identity on their cultural diversity. The idea is to have a more intensive personal interaction. The second part is to achieve this language aims language learning is necessary lifelong task to be promoted but and facilitated through educational system from preschool and to the adult education. The third part is more about the desirable and to develop this common European framework or reference for language learning at all levels in order to promote and facilitate the cooperation among educational institutions and different countries. And the other thing is to provide a sound basis of for the mutual recognition of language qualification. The final part is for what use is the Common European Framework of Reference intended. So the first part is the planning of language learning programs in terms of their assumptions regarding prior knowledge and their articulation with early learning, particularly at interfaces between primary, lower secondary, and upper secondary and higher further education, their objectives, their content too. So the second part is the planning of language certification in terms of the content syllables of examination assessment criteria in terms of a positive achievement rather than negative deficiency. The third part is the planning of self-directed learning, including raising of the learner's awareness of his or her present state of knowledge, self-settings of feasibility and worthwhile objectives, selection of materials, and self-assessment. The last part is learning programs and certifications can be global, bringing a learning program in a dimension of language proficiency and communicative competence. Modular, improving the learner's proficiency in restricted area for particular purpose. This is more or less the real important parts of these uses of the Common European Framework.